contains strong language and has therefore been rated 18 plus by the YouTube and ECCA. Viewer discretion is advised. YouTube and ECCA and the makers of this video do not condone the usage of foul language in any situation or circumstance. The explicit content shown within this clip may also be disturbing viewing for mature adults. All people in and involved with this video are innocent until proven guilty.
Alright, people, and we are back on the Fix for New York podcast. I am one half of the show, your co-host, your boy Cash First. Catch me at the Fix for New York on Instagram. My co-host Z Dot will not be here with us this evening, but he is here with us in spirit. God bless the brother. But this evening, ladies and gentlemen, who we do have here is a squad of some amazing gentlemen. My fellow Free Speech Media Network motherfucking libertarian porcupines. These guys are amazing, and we about to seriously take off. I can't say all these names at one time, but I'll say this: Porcupines United this evening, motherfucker. Let's get it. Yeah, so we got Fight in the building, we got Bill in the building, we got Roger in the building, and we got Harrison in the building. What's going on, fellas?
What's happening?
Chilling.
On the show of shows, the host of hosts. Thanks for having me, man.
We got Pirate Raj up in the building.
Pirate Roger. Oh shit.
I'm staying safe. I don't want to.
Yeah, let me stay
6
safe in the
feet.
stream too.
Keep your distance.
Yeah, they don't have a distance option for this stream, do they?
No, they don't have a social distance safe option. We're all being contacted by the COVID tracers right now.
Digital COVID.
Oh shit. But yeah, fellas, so you know, thanks for being here this evening. Got some good topics to talk about and shit. And for everybody tuning in, feel free to share away, blast it off, send the motherfucking links all over the place. Shout out all those who were lost civilian wise when it came to the situation of Wacko. God bless. To the ATF agents. Y'all can hold that. Yeah, fellas, you know, so that'll definitely be a topic that we touch on later on tonight. And let us say one thing: if you are a bootlicking motherfucker, this is not the place to be. So if you are gonna tune in, make sure you get out of here, cause we're gonna be talking that constitutional libertarian shit up in this bitch. Yeah. So fellas, you know, what inspired this evening's episode was just we were on a meeting yesterday, and we were having some good dialogue in reference to the growth of the Libertarian Party, you know, and libertarianism overall, because along with the Libertarian Party, I just came to find out recently that there's a bunch of different libertarian caucuses and shit. You know, shout out to all them motherfucking porcupines as well. You know, quills up, we don't give a fuck. So okay, we're getting some love here. So yeah, so you know, it was a dope conversation because we were actually talking about ideas for growing the party, actions that should be taken, how we should be mobilizing, especially now. Look at all of us. I'm here in New York City. Everybody's at different locations. You know, if you want to disclose your location, feel free to do so. You know, I'm big on anonymousness, but if anybody wants to say where they're, you know, shooting in from.
And I got it on my map right here. New Hampshire.
Okay. Fight.
We'd be all over on my show, but at the moment we're in upstate New York.
Okay, Roger.
I'm on the beautiful coast of Maine.
Harrison with 3D sunglasses on deck. Liddy.
Like seeing everything bounce at me. So, yeah, I'm from Maine. I live in Old Town, just north of Bangor.
And this is dope because I've never really been in upstate. I've never been to New Hampshire. I've never been to Maine. And when you guys talk to me about going to South Dakota, I instantly. So this is dope. You know, we're utilizing the advancement of technology and making shit happen. And you know, we was discussing some amazing ideas. One thing I do love is Libertarians Unite. I'm meeting Libertarians all over the place. Florida, Texas. Shout out Florida, by the way. You motherfuckers are amazing. Texas as well. Pennsylvania has a very good Libertarian Party. The New Jersey Libertarian Party, they're starting to organize a lot better. And yeah, so this is dope, you know. So I've done enough with the intro. If anybody wants to kick it off, you know, with you know, just what their perspective is and their ideas in regards to growing the party even more, you know, feel free to take it.
Yeah, I think you know, calling back to the conversation we had yesterday is exactly what started this off. You know, we're people of different ideologies and different caucuses that join the party for different reasons, all just having a good conversation about coming together and putting the bullshit aside and growing the party, because that's what we're all here for. You know, we don't get anywhere by shouting online at each other about who's the best libertarian that doesn't move the country towards liberty, that doesn't get libertarians elected, that doesn't dismantle the state, that doesn't stop the government from infringing on our rights every fucking day.
Facts, I like that.
Absolutely. Like our conversation yesterday, for instance. Yeah, we talked about our caucuses and our libertarianism and whatever, but we also just told jokes. You know, it wasn't just libertarianism. It was, hey, I've got a sense of humor. You've got a sense of humor. I got a life story. You got a life story. You know, it was personal. Personal. It wasn't just business. And I think that's something a lot of people forget too, is that there's actually a human being on the other end of the conversation, and they often think I'm just fighting this ideology. So it's like, oh, you're a Georgist, I have to fight your ideology, or you're a socialist libertarian, I gotta fight you on that. When really, if you just kind of talk to the person for a little bit, you can get to their motivations. You know, once you get to their motivations, then it's much easier to understand why they believe their philosophy. And maybe you don't change their mind, maybe they don't change yours, whatever, but you're both a little bit smarter for it.
I agree with that. I think it's important to challenge the culture. Like what I like about what Angela McArdle said on the Liberty Happy Hour. I watched that towards the end. She's, you know, we shouldn't be reflecting culture. We should be creating it. We should be, you know, engaged with culture. So it's not just like, I love political stuff, man. I love politics. I love philosophy. So I'm not gonna denounce that, but just doing stuff that's fun, whether it's comedy or sports or just getting our tentacles, if you will, into all aspects of just things that people enjoy. And I think that's going to be a good step forward too.
Yeah, I think that it's as boring as it can sound, there's an art to having these conversations about, like, you know, being free in a way that's relatable to a regular person who's not like studying the like principles of liberty or something. There's like an art to just being relatable and kind of tie it into like everyday life. And that's not you know, if that means we gotta sit here and have podcasts and complain about Waco every time it comes around, it's like just another way to paint it. Like, hey, the government has no right to be telling you whether you can be ranching here or farming there, or you own this land, you don't own this land anymore.
They be sucking dick.
Yeah, right.
Government be sucking.
Sometimes boiling it down to something simple and then having a more complex, nuanced conversation is better on a podcast than it is online. It's like online, there's no facial expressions, there's no tone. Text is cold, man. 240 characters, like, brutal.
But I think one of the most beautiful parts about libertarianism is that it does permeate every single part of your life.
That's true.
If you are like really embodying libertarian philosophy, you make that a thing in every piece of your life. You live that live and let live lifestyle all day, every day, and it affects how you fucking fish and how you go to work and how you drive and how you act. And to pretend that it only has to do with economics and political philosophy is just a fallacy, really.
Right. And the beautiful thing about the state is it also affects every aspect of your daily life.
Yeah.
And it affects how you fish, how you drive, and what you do.
Right.
And there's something that changes how you live every aspect of your life. It's something that you really, it's easy to forget.
No, that's a
when
good
we
point.
talk about that. But
One thing I want to kind of echo off what David said too is it affects everything you do with your life. So, my idea of how activism works has shifted. I think activism is you're going door to door, getting signatures. That's definitely activism. But if you're involved in your community, if you start like a group and you're just skateboarding and you start kind of red pilling people, that's activism too. And in this day and age where everything is banned, it's almost like just having fun is activism. Going out to get a pepperoni pizza, not living in fear. You know what I mean? So whether you're a gamer, or you're a streamer, or whatever it is that you do, you can plug the liberty message into that. So I think it's not all work; it can be fun too. Yeah.
Word up, B.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's all about unity, fellas, and y'all all made some valid points. Like we could talk politics and make it fun. What I do with my podcast here in the Fix New York, I'm translating politics to my demographic, urban United States, because they're big on music, fashion, entertainment, and it's just like you do know your favorite rapper is constantly exercising his First Amendment, his or her First Amendment, before any feminist comes up in here and gets all in her. Oh, the feminists are hating on the sound bites. Here we go. Oh, hold on.
You got it. Come on.
This is why you lost the debate.
I did not lose that debate. Fuck out of here.
You didn't lose the debate, dude. Your opening statement was how much you agreed with feminism.
Right. And then
Y'all
she
didn't
goes-
notice what I did. I came with a curveball.
Explain that to me.
Very simple.
Behind the scenes, go ahead.
These feminists think they sneaky. They want all the perks of traditionalism, but they want to have full-blown liberation. And it's like, nah, we're going to give y'all your liberation, but guess what?
Surprise, motherfucker!
You're going to have your own money. Holla at a motherfucker first. Don't depend on us for any type of safety. None whatsoever. And if we don't want to get you pregnant, we're not going to get you pregnant. And we're going to even out these motherfucking family courts and all these judicial gynocentric laws. Gynocentric means against men. We're going to fix all that shit. Ain't going to be no fucking advantages, no type of handicaps whatsoever. We're going to make sure we equal in this motherfucker. Y'all feel me? Remember, I came at
I
her.
agree with that.
Yeah, I came at
Isn't
her.
that kind of like her thing too? Like, did
No.
she agree with you?
Well, she agreed with me, yeah, but I caught her off guard because she was expecting to be combated in one way. I combated her another way. I combated her like, you're gonna be held accountable to what's being recorded this evening. You have your man right now. Whatever arrangement y'all have, cool, but you're setting the standard right now and agreeing. Have your own motherfucking money, pay your own motherfucking tab, holla at a guy first, don't come with none of that Me Too bullshit, with the exception of a guy being a full-blown creep and all that. And even then, we gotta figure out what the fuck is going on beforehand. Bring the motherfucking consent forms, and these laws, boom, we're gonna fix them. Ain't gonna be, default, mother gets custody. Fuck out of here. It ain't gonna be, default, just because he's a man, the domestic violence is not in his favor. Like, come on, people.
That does not make sense.
No. So what I did was take away all of their leverage. Think about it. I played chess, not checkers.
Right.
Watch the episode again. Look at her face switch up. She was just like, oh my god, like.
She definitely wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
for sure.
and God bless her. She was cool. Before anything, God bless her. This is not shots at her.
Right.
This is correcting the title that she wants to represent to the millions and millions of feminists out there. We're gonna hold y'all to the motherfucking standards that y'all claim to live by. Have your own motherfucking money. Embrace the Second Amendment. Protect your goddamn selves. Holla at a guy if you feeling him. And no, you're not gonna get child support, alimony, custody, and courts in your favor by default. Fuck out of here. We're gonna have full-blown extensive review. You know? That's it. All these advantages are over with.
I like that you were willing to sacrifice the visual of losing on premise to win on principle by doing that. I do see the move you did there. It's like, you know, when Harrison and Roger give you shit and they're like, hey man, you said you love feminism in the first 2 minutes of the debate. I mean, they make a good point, but you also said I agree with feminism if it means this.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it means this.
It's just I had to get in. I can't say, oh yeah, I agree with it, and then not be able to elaborate it. Why? Because then these bitches keep their advantage. You know?
Yeah, no, you kind of defined the ground that you're willing to debate that term on. You're like, hey, if you step outside of this box,
That's fair.
I'm not with it. It was a
Mhm.
good move. It was a good move.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I will say too, because like people are gonna give you shit, be like, oh, you lost that debate because you said you like feminism, but on principle you won because you're like, hey, if that's what feminism is, I'm cool with it. Like
Yep.
your principles
Yep.
are all aligned with that.
Mhm.
That was a smart move.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. No.
Thank you. So yeah, that's what it is, you know? Look at George Washington. George Washington, when he saw he couldn't take the redcoats on in line warfare, boom, guerrilla warfare, militia strategic strikes. I pulled the George Washington. Little does you know, now that I'm explaining it, but little does the average bear realize I just saved a bunch of men. You ladies want to claim y'all feminists? Again, have your own money, protect your damn self. No type of advantages in the judicial system, and don't expect men to approach you. Y'all approaching men. None of that Me Too shit. I completely disarm them.
There was one question in that because I wasn't watching the Trovo, and Devin Saxon asked you a question I didn't get to ask actually from Hedgehog Watchdog. He asked how a consent form would work when you're trying to like hook up with a chick. Like how would you present the consent form? How does that work?
If there's flirting going on, whatever, and like there's engagement from both parties, just have a clear declaration like, yo, is you trying to smash tonight? I sign right here. I don't want no excuses after that. As long as I don't stab you, shoot you, you know, it's on and popping. And within the sexual engagement, what do you agree with? Let's get this signed right now. You know?
Would you support, like, for dapper gentlemen, like a pocket handkerchief that had a contract written on it that you could just like?
Mm-hmm. You sucking dick.
Lipstick and then-
You sucking dick. We fucking till I bust. You know, cause I could fuck for hours. You feel me? When I tell y'all it's
Is
wheelchair
that all the
gang.
consent for?
Yep.
Is that gonna be illegal?
Yep.
Behind it?
Yo, I could fuck for hours.
No, but if, I think not even being like unironic, like funny about it. Like you could have something where it's like an app, where it's like
Yeah, I'm
okay,
being
so
dead ass,
put
B.
Put your thumb on that, and that's saying, hey, it's cool to hook up. What I
You
mean?
know these feminists believe that they could get pounded out, you know, orgasm 3-4 times, and later on try to catch you with like a Brett Kavanaugh. I changed my mind. I was molested. I was manipulated. I was taken advantage of. Like, wait, what? Get the fuck out of here. You pulling that bullshit?
I usually do tend to think that something like that will end up being developed if this really becomes a problem, like false claims really become a problem. But fees and some kind of insurance for it, some kind of app for it. Right now is
Tinder's got something kind of like
It's-
that.
do they?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on Tinder in a bit, but they just put in kind of a thing where you could say like yes in the app that you were into them and that you wanted to go out with them and that you were going out with them, and that it was put as more of a safety thing for the party that could be in danger, but
Man,
same level of protection is still helps the other party as well, because it's a mutual understanding that like, yeah, we're gonna go on a date together, we're probably gonna fuck tonight, like we both agreed to this. And I think there's actually like a location tracking kind of something and a secondary app that you can download if you're really like extra worried, so you just like hit a button and it like calls 911 and it tells them exactly where you are.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
I was wrong. I was wrong. Then I said there isn't some type of app for insurance or whatever, and fuck me, I was wrong.
Well, I can if I get the app.
Look at that. The app that just proved my whole point. Just proved my point.
But you have to be
Free market
consenting
will
for every
always provide.
escalation.
Yes. Unless,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna. I don't know. I lost the joke now. Never mind.
I was just gonna say we should have an app where you have to like swipe for every escalation. Like, okay, so I kissed you, but then I have to get consent for the next one because we have to get consent for everything. Consent culture, consent for every little thing. Rather than saying, is this okay? How about that? And then we can be on our phones while we're making out and while we're fucking. I mean, if you thought that your lover was on or your partner was on their phone too much already, wait till we get this thing. I mean, it's gonna be great.
Well, and then,
You have to like send a request to change positions, You have to like send a request like, can we do doggy style now? Like, I'm sick of this.
Check your phone.
Fucking right in the pussy.
well, and then eventually, why not just go all the way to like VR all the time? Because you've
Right.
already got to be on the phone. Just avoid it. Just go all the way.
So that's also a thing right now, though, especially with COVID. Like, there are like connected VR devices that you can get to where it's like you're virtually having sex with another human.
So haptics, like transmitting haptics, like you can get a sex doll, like a fuck doll that would move like you just like suit up with like the haptic suits, and then I'm fucking.
I don't know if it's quite that intense.
We could get there.
We could definitely get there for sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard.
I mean, I'm sure it's already invented, just not like available to the public
Right.
for like an affordable price.
Who's got a full body haptic suit?
Now, most people can afford like a fleshlight, though.
It would be cool though if we could have like an avatar version of ourselves, where like I'm not. Let's say I'm across the country for my girlfriend, but like she's got a version of me that she just hit the button and be like, all right, Bill, you got to make the motions from California and like fuck me real good,
Right.
and then I would be very uncomfortable.
Cash, is this how you expected your show to go tonight?
Hey man, this is even better than what I thought. I just wanna.
You'd be the one she's using. I mean, Brad Pitt's just a code away. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's terrible, dude. Like, you can basically, like, live stream sex.
Yeah.
Like, you can have sex, and then it's live streamed to, like, 70
Oh my
people.
god, dude, yeah, absolutely. I could be
You know, I
fucking
can
70
just do, like,
bitches at
all of
once.
Facebook here. Just do,
But what
I
could
would
happen?
think
like,
OnlyFans
digital
is a
concubines up there.
different thing.
Oh, dude.
You could have it where the code brings. So the lady is feeling Brad Pitt, Chris Hemsworth, whatever. That's what they're seeing and visualizing. But it's just you from a central location.
Oh man, that's even better. And then the haptic suit could get a little more force behind it. Like I'm like not the heftiest guy.
Get like a jackhammer or.
Right. If they want a Jason Momoa, it's like the haptic suit adds that extra 200 pounds or whatever it is, or 100 pounds of
It's
muscle.
multi muscles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't want guys being booby trapped anymore. Y'all know what's the biggest demographic in dating right now and marriage? Anybody?
The biggest Democrat?
Demographic.
Oh, demographic.
Are you gonna say women? women because they make
Stoners.
up a majority of the people? What do you? I don't know what
The
you're
biggest demograph of dating in the United States is United States men with non-United States born women. You know why? Because these women, the women not born in the United States,
Watch
they're not
too much porn.
they're not on that bullshit, and they realize like, yo, like, women's biology, their time is very limited. This is why nature set them up to develop first, because basically Mother Nature, you know, is practically right. You know, this is why the war on drugs is horrible and shit. Shout out marijuana. So women develop first than men because, for the most part, it varies on people, but for the most part, they should be getting with like older, mature guys in order, or guys their own age, like however you choose, like for it to like work whatever and shit, in order to breed life and continue the human race, like going and all that. As to men, we're late bloomers in comparison to women, but we have longevity. You know, along with that, I'm sorry, facts are facts. This is gonna make a lot of women come around and get in there. Oh, Joe Biden is hating here. Hold on. It's gonna make the ladies get in there. But this is facts over feelings, bitch. So get the fuck out of here with you. Women outnumber men naturally, and on top of that, men been killing each other since the dawn of time. You're not supposed to be with just one girl. If you want to be monogamous, alright, cool. But look up the history of monogamy. It's a pretty new concept. And women demand monogamy, but guess what? Women initiate 80 to 90% of the divorces. You know, that's like me asking for motherfucking lasagna, and 9 times out of 10, one of y'all makes it for me, and then I say, you know what? I changed my mind. I didn't want this lasagna. It's a bunch of... What type of bullshit is that? Let's be realistic, people. So, you feel me? Like, we have longevity in comparison to women. Women, once they hit 30, their biology, they start like losing eggs little by little. Us, depending how good we take care of ourselves, we could look exactly how we look now, all the way to like 60, 70 and shit. They unfortunately can't, because you ever seen like the memes that be like, oh, those with high sex drives tend to look young for a long time. Our sex drive is made to last because it's like marijuana plants. The male plant produces mad seeds. The female plant produces the buds. You know? So that's basically the same thing with us and shit. And it's even, you know, for the people who want to come and get in there on the religious shit, it's even in the Old Testament as well. A man could take on many wives. He just has to treat them all good because, you know, we're supposed to be good. You know, and women too. Bunch of women out here, you know, their souls be like,
I am a nasty woman.
and I don't give a fuck. We ending all that shit. So yeah, that's what it is. If anybody wants more of an elaboration from that points, you know, I'll gladly answer any questions. But that's what it's about. You know, we're getting rid of all of these and telling
Can I?
that.
Cash, I liked what you had to say there. So let me just kind of caveat to that and say, you know, you made the reference to the Bible there. Now, in the Bible too, what do you think about reptilians in the Bible? Are they there?
I believe that they're here. I actually got into a disagreement with some feminazi libertarians because I was trying to explain to them about the reptilians, and they were there giving me like sarcasm and attitude, and I'm sorry, but I really don't like that attitude. When you show me that,
I am a nasty woman.
you could get hit by a truck for all I care. So they got like really sarcastic with me and like trolling me. So I was like, you know what? Believe what y'all want. At the end of the day, take care. And then they invited me on their podcast. And you know what I told them? No thanks. But yeah, so I do believe that reptilians exist, and the stories that I've heard, These are evil reptilians that they feed vibrationally. You see the way we eat lasagna and shit like that, they feed via vibrations. So they love misery and sadness as like their biggest thing.
The key ingredient in their lasagna.
Exactly.
No, hey, Cash, have you heard of, I'm sure you've, well, no, not David Icke, but David Icke too, but the phenomena of sleep paralysis.
Sleep
so
paralysis is a bunch of bullshit. I'm gonna debunk that right now. You need a colon cleanse. I'm sorry if you're gonna come up in here and be in your and believe in that bullshit. Believe me when I tell you I am big on nutrition. You need a colon cleanse. Colon cleanse. Ain't gonna be no more sleep paralysis. You really want something to be scared of? Oh, okay. Let me tell you. Go ahead. Ask me. What's the scariest thing?
What's the scariest thing?
Fuck your sleep paralysis. You know what's the scariest thing? Infringements on the United States Constitution.
Scariest thing is the ATF.
Take it or leave it. I don't.
Exactly, the infringements, B. The infringements, along with that, bills.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the things that we want to do as libertarians are technically infringements on the Constitution.
How so?
Well, for instance, according to the Constitution, it's legal to have the income tax. There's quite a few libertarians who find taxation immoral and theft and would outlaw it. So, right there, we want to do something that's against the Constitution.
Alright. So, the original Constitution didn't have that amendment, because I believe the income tax amendment was,
But the original one allowed for humans to own other humans. So, it's not like it was better.
how did it allow for humans to, and this is not me sarcastically asking, respectfully out of curiosity, because I might have missed it.
We didn't abolish slavery until an amendment later on.
Oh no, but this is the thing. The original 10, look, the Sons of Liberty wanted the abolishment of slavery. It was the southern states. And then you even had slaves themselves saying that they didn't want an abolishment of slavery.
I want to
George-
make the point
Good.
real quick that having a constitution that respects the rights of everybody, or that is written to respect everybody's rights, does not mean that people who wrote it abide by that.
They tried their
Is
best.
the Constitution flawed? Were the people who wrote it flawed? Like that's a whole conversation. I mean, I
Look,
agree.
the original 10, you know, completely cover the grounds of all men are created equal, including.
Except the ones that the Constitution allowed to be owned as slaves.
All right, slave. Go ahead.
Here, let me put it to you this way,
Go,
Cash.
go, go, go.
If you go read the original Constitution, have you ever heard of stuff like the 3/5 Compromise? Have you ever heard of, jeez, what was that other one? Just basing on it.
You said 3/5 compromise.
Yeah, look into the 3/5 Compromise. Read the original Constitution. Like, slavery was enshrined in the Constitution. That's why it took a civil war.
Hold on, because this is saying 1850. 3/5 compromise.
Yeah, that was to kind of.
Hold on. The 3/5 compromise.
Right.
Blah 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 blah.
To give some semblance of, but it's like, oh, you don't even get a whole person's vote. You're not even a whole
Well,
person. I don't know.
they weren't even, it wasn't even that black people were necessarily allowed to vote. It's that the black slaves counted as 3/5
Right, and then you would vote, and then count their 3/5 towards your.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, this is definitely. But hey, look, you could amend shit. All right, you definitely could amend shit. You could abolish shit. I say the original 10 are valid, along with like the articles, you know, and the Sons of Liberty, George Washington, James Madison, Paul Revere, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Samuel Adams, Thomas Paine, etc. Just to not go off, they were all against slavery. It was the southern states giving them problems. So what they did was this. They said, all right, we're going to create a loophole. Every single slave that helps either in the militias or Continental Army, will instantly be granted freedom. And yeah, they were actually.
Not all of them.
Did they register for militias or Continental Army? Cause I dug into that shit in particular, you know, and I could talk. I'm of Puerto Rican descent. My people were enslaved as well. And realistically, people all over the planet were enslaved at one point. The United States eradicated slavery the fastest. There's actually still slaves to this day, I believe, in the Middle East, connecting with the continents of Africa, within that
Well,
region.
we did it after England and Canada and a couple of the other main European countries.
That did it without a violent war.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's also true. But Harrison, I gotta ask you, are you a Articles of Confederation guy, or are you just like a all of it was fucked up because those guys sucked kind of a person?
Well, I'm not. So I'm of the opinion that you have to look at what is the actual law, what is the intended outcome of the law, and then kind of separately you look at the people who wrote the thing. You know, like if the people who wrote the thing are shitheads, but the thing is really good, promotes liberty and all that, you can still, you know.
Right.
So I don't look at it like, oh,
I still like the stuff Rand Paul wrote.
Mm.
right.
Cause look, before anybody, you know, cause there'll be people watching and they'll say, "Oh, you know, Cash didn't have a response and nothing like that." Let me say this: the original 10 are practically perfect, and they cover all grounds. Cause what is mankind? All humans, right or wrong. Every single Homo sapien, male or female, regardless of race, religion, or creed, right? That's mankind, right or wrong.
I'm with that. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
United States
100% agree.
Constitution said that, you know, we recognize that all men are created equal. Mankind. That's basically what they meant with that shit. The original 10 were valid. They protected the biggest minority of them all. What is the biggest minority of them all?
The individual.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I would back up based off of what Harrison just said. I would back up the Bill of Rights as pretty fucking solid.
The original 10. The original 10.
Constitution as a whole, as it was written or as it stands now, or really as it's ever been as a whole, kind of fucking.
Okay.
And then also the way it was created was a direct violation of the Articles of Confederation.
All right.
I'd
So
also push back just a little bit more because you threw John Adams into that list of Sons of Liberty. Rest of the list was pretty dope. John Adams was a piece of shit in jail.
he was
Hundreds of reporters that posted or reported anything against him while he was president. So he was like
he was
one of
quite
absolute
the
most
asshole. He was quite the asshole. That I won't deny. I was watching the documentary. Look, man, if I was around back then, sorry, John, but based on your behavior, I'd have dueled you.
John Adams,
all the way.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but John Adams, he was president. Bill, circle back means come back to it later when there's an apt moment to do so.
I just don't remember.
Podcast speak.
I just don't remember which point it was.
The libertarian take on lizard people living among us. It's in the chat.
Oh, that
Now
one.
you made me ruin this. So anyway,
Hold on, before go ahead. Actually, go ahead.
when it comes down to like the Articles of Confederation or whatever, I'm an anarchist. I think it's all bullshit. Okay, it's all someone else trying to take liberty and run your life. You know. So
I mean, we need government because we can't trust people, and the government has to be made of people who we can't trust.
Right.
So why has to?
Exactly.
And I would push back on the idea that the Constitution was put in place to protect individual freedom. I mean, maybe you could say that, well, they didn't view black people as people, they weren't humans, so therefore they were still protecting individual right because they didn't view them as people, and now we view them as people. So if you want to make that argument, I guess I could go down that journey with you to be like, all right, you know, they different time period, they didn't see us the same way, whatever. But I think if you're gonna say, oh, they made this document that protects individual rights, and at the the same time, that same document like allows the government to do some very heinous shit. So it's not cut and dry. Like the first 10 even, the first 10, the Bill of Rights, it isn't even just like, oh, the government can't do anything to you now. You know, they have to completely leave you alone and protect your rights. No, it's very clear that they can violate your rights no matter what that piece of paper says. They do it all the time. The Constitution says the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Like, it's infringed all of the time.
Yeah,
especially where you two live, out over there in New York. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, so the Constitution itself is as useless as the piece of paper it's written on. Wipe your ass, throw it in the fire, and call it a day. I mean,
Yep.
I'll explain that right now. Alright. When it says shall not be infringed, that's what it means. Back then, everybody was carrying whatever the fuck they wanted all the time. The reason it's being infringed now is via the sub-statutes. Sub-statutes are supposed to come second to the United States Constitution. It clearly states in the Constitution, anything, statutes that are, repugnant to the original, Constitution are to be null and void. These sub-statutes that infringe on the Constitution, particularly the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the First Amendment, etc., and all that, they're supposed to be null and void immediately. The problem is nobody's voting. Real quick, just to put the stamp on the whole slavery thing, again, when these guys created the United States Constitution, they weren't really like looking at color in regards to the Bill of Rights and all that. Then as they were having the discussion to go, 1776 and all that, again, it was the southern states south of Virginia. These states saying, no, we're not gonna help the colonies fight back if there's no slavery. And also, along with that, unfortunately, there was plenty of black people as well that they wanted to remain slaves because they literally didn't have like a vision of how to live outside of slavery and shit. That was the issue there. And that is why, again, the Sons of Liberty will give the exception to John Adams. We all know he was an asshole. He was a troublemaking, raging alcoholic and shit. But with the exception of him, all these guys were against slavery, but since they needed the numbers in that particular moment, they were like, all right, we'll handle this right now. And they even created a loophole. If you can't make me a lasagna, but you make me a dope-ass sandwich, I'll take that, when we figure it out from there. But they were about to be attacked. So it was like the clock was ticking, That's like...
a couple of things there.
Go ahead.
I guess the really most concerning one was that the idea that they were against slavery. They owned slaves. Most of them owned slaves. And then the idea that somehow we get an accurate census and an accurate poll taken of black slaves who are owned, and it magically turns out that they'd rather stay under someone else's ownership. Who would be surprised at that? Oh, I wonder who was the one doing the poll. Probably the guy that fucking owned them. So I give no validity to the claim that they would much rather have stayed as slaves, being beaten on a daily basis than free. I think that's
Probably.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
Yeah, and
Obviously,
I
sure,
am...
You can do whatever you want.
I am the quote unquote modern day minority here. I don't have any colonial or white blood in me. I'm light skinned during the winter, but I tan like a motherfucker and shit. Yo hablo mi idioma. That means Spanish. I talk my language. I'm of, Puerto Rico, Caribbean island. We're a mix of black, indigenous Taino, and Spaniards and shit. My relatives, like, I'm probably one of the lighter skinned ones, again, until spring and summer when I start tanning and shit. A lot of my relatives are brown to black and shit. Alright. Based on the documentaries and all the evidence that's out there, like, again, you watch the documentaries, History Channel and shit, yeah, we could question it. We could question everything. We could question the meaning of life. We could question, is there a God? We could question how we got here. You know, we could question so many things. Unfortunately, due to the evidence that we do have at hand, that's what it is. Until we invent the time machine and go back, all right, that's what we gotta rock with. The most important thing is, how do we fix it now? You know, it's all about fixing it. You feel me? Because if we're only gonna focus on issues and not try to generate solutions, that will be the biggest problem of them all. You know, it was
I gotta agree with you on that one. But also want to respond to something Harrison said, because I think it is important to note that, like, anecdotally, some of the main founding fathers were not slave owners and were like actually like really, really anti-slavery. Like,
yes, they were.
Alexander Hamilton, and even like there is a decent amount of writing to be read of like Thomas Jefferson, who did own slaves, but he wrote about it in a way where he was like, he wanted to get America to the point where he could free his slaves and was actively an abolitionist,
and they wouldn't become somebody else's slaves.
Right.
Hey.
That was.
Thank you.
There were a couple of good ones on the slavery issue specifically, but I think another important thing to note, you know, when you talk about the southern states being the problems, the dude that wrote the Bill of Rights was from a southern state and was one of the problems.
Yeah. Again. There was a lot of shit. There was a lot of shit going on. George Washington is on record. He treated his slaves so good that there was I think there was one particular battle, right? That one of his slaves got in front of him and he was like, "Yo, get the fuck out the way. You don't see that they shooting? I don't want you to get shot. I'm the general here." Because back then George Washington was frontline like a motherfucker. And he told them, if anybody's gonna get hit, it's gonna be me. And that the slaves started crying like, "No, I want to live," and all that, you know, blah blah blah. So it's on record. Again, these guys were between a rock and a hard place. Look at the battle we're experiencing now with these feminists. They want equality and all that, but they still expect us to approach them and pay. It was the modern day problem back then in comparison to the modern day problem that we're facing here. How do we fix it? They tried. They created all these loopholes and all that to try to free the slaves. There was a lot of combatancy back there, you know. But
I would like the correlation between like Thomas Jefferson and like a big environmental activist that still drives like a 98 Honda Civic that gets like 12 miles to the gallon because that's all they can afford. Like, it's like if you're doing like a little fucked up of shit in the sake of like trying to save the world, there's like a little bit of a pass there. And you know, if we're trying to actively invent a world where we don't have to drive 98 Honda Civics that get 12 miles to the gallon, you know, and he was trying to invent a world where, like you said, Bill, he could release his slaves and they wouldn't just get bought, like, because that's really what he was concerned about for a chunk of it. Was in Virginia, they would have nowhere else to go. If he just like wrote them all off, his plantation would have been fucked, and all of those people would have just gotten instantly captured by
Taken prisoner.
And let me tell ya, look, my people, blacks and Hispanics, the one thing they love bragging about all the time, I got freedom of speech, blah blah blah. What's that? Your First Amendment in the United States Constitution and shit. So again, either we figure it out, we could abolish this whole thing, but I don't want. I hate.
burn it the fuck down like they did Waco.
Do you think that your rights come from the government?
No, your rights are inalienable. What George Washington and these guys did was establish that, look, it's inalienable, but let's document it like that. There'll be no rebuttal later on, and you know, let's just have some type of stamp right there, and take it from there. Again, while all this was going on, they were under attack. They were being hunted down, and all that. You know.
So,
Like libertarians.
Can I ask a question here? There seems to be a running thread through this conversation where it's like, it seems like the Constitution is only good if we follow the good principles in it, right? And there's a lot of people, I think libertarians specifically, who are like, well, the Constitution, I mean, really anarchists, ANCAPs,
That's because of the people in office right now.
Well, I agree with you, but my thought is like principles of liberty are also only that good, and does it really make it better if we take them off a piece of paper?
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying? Like, so I think it
I
could
agree.
make a better document.
Is that all right?
I think there's room for a better document in the Constitution, but I also don't think that like people shit on it like, well, it's just a piece of paper. What does that do? It's like I don't know. Like it is nice to have like it somewhere.
Yeah.
Lists,
You know what's funny? A ticket is also just a piece of paper. You know, but if a red coat gives you a ticket, you gotta answer for it in some way, shape, or form.
Totally. Well, but and right, and so it's kind of an outline of ideas that exist in the world that people are concerned with at the very least. So I don't, I'm with you, Harrison, when it's like, well, the thing's kind of garbage. Did it help us? Like we have the biggest fucking state, the most rules ever, the most taxation ever.
What part of it do we follow?
I know, I'm totally with you, and then, but I guess
No,
the
it's a
thing
genuine question.
I'll answer that.
Yeah,
We
please,
we follow as much as we can on it right now. Why? Democrats and Republicans have had full blown power for like the last 125 years.
So then what good is it? Because they've controlled the country since the start.
Harrison, let me ask you this: when you say we, do you mean the state or do you mean the citizens of the state? Because when
It
we talk
really
about
depends.
Syria, well, I'm just
It's
saying, when you say what do we follow? Well, I feel like I follow the Constitution pretty well, but the Constitution is written to prevent the state from doing things.
Remember,
Referring to like
is
to our society.
is a lot of statutes being enforced. You know what's the real problem? I'll tell you right now exactly what the real problem is. You got a bunch of cowards out here who are motherfucking. Damn, hold on. This is loading. Hold on.
Been a while.
Because that's the entire populace, though. Like the voting.
You got a
populace
bunch
is
of
what's
bootlickers.
putting these people in.
You got a bunch of bootlickers out here supporting cops, and cops enforce the tyranny. That's the problem. So when you have a two-party system, who warned us about having a two-party system? Come on.
George motherfucking Washington.
There we fucking go. If the motherfucker who put his life on the line to get us, where we should have been today in a way better scenario said, don't allow for a two-party system. The minute the last son of liberty died, who was the youngest one? Was it Thomas Paine? I'm not sure. Or James, when the last one died, that's when the tyranny came about, so
It's funny because George Washington brought us from a one-party system to a two-party system, like from Britain to America and Britain.
but wasn't it back then you had the Federalists, the Whigs, and the Democratic Republican?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so but again he put that warning out, look, don't let there be a two-party system.
Can I ask I'm taking this kind of into left field real quick, and I know we're all like, I think, are we all registered like big out or libertarians?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. Because I've struggled with this question for a couple of months now. Like, as the Libertarian Party, can we actually like run somebody for president?
Yeah.
Knowing that everything that we're saying here, like the president shouldn't be a part of a party. Like the president should be independent.
This is
The
what
president
this
shouldn't even exist.
I mean, okay, I knew you were gonna say that, so I should have thrown this out with a caveat of like, if we're not burning down the state, which would make me sad, but
Well,
like,
that's the reason that a libertarian would be elected, is because people are tired and they want to burn it down to a reasonable extent.
If we're trying to not like, again, if we're doing the pragmatic approach to libertarianism real quick, hypothetically,
Why would we do
We
that?
need to talk about that.
I mean,
Not even like picking on caucuses or anything. Like I don't give a shit about caucuses or whatever, but just the overall, like, taking a pragmatic approach to advancing liberty, I don't personally see as a beneficial one. I think you need to just be on people's level and hit them in the face as hard as possible on the thing they care about, rather than like, oh, this is a long haul game. I'll eventually get you over to softcore libertarianism. Just hit
I'm
them
not,
with it.
I'm not
and
talking
put 'em
about
over.
getting people to softcore libertarianism. I'm talking about, like, I feel like there's a both and answer to what you're talking about here. There's the getting a bunch of people full blown libertarians, but we're gonna win a presidential election a lot faster if we have those people and the softcore libertarians voting together. So while we have people like Spike Cohen and Dave Smith out there, and Michael Malice, well, I mean, I wish he was a part of the party and doing what I'm talking about here. If we have those people recruiting people like yourself, while we have Justin Amash types recruiting people like myself, we can all take a giant leap in the correct direction with a libertarian or independent presidency. That one of those day one, we deschedule marijuana, pardon all nonviolent drug offenders, bring all the troops home. Like, we can, at the moment, the way the structure is set up, like, only the president can really do those things.
Mm-hmm. I'll give y'all a perfect.
I guess we're having a difference in terms because I don't really view that as pragmatic.
I'll give y'all a perfect example.
Fair.
I'll give
That
y'all.
is actually a fair criticism.
Yeah, I'll give y'all a perfect
That is
example.
my version of pragmatic.
I'll give y'all.
Go ahead, Karen.
Well, to respond first to Harrison, all right. Look, I'm full blown for anarchy. If that's the option that we could have, hell yeah. But you know what? I can't mention that to a lot of people. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna shit their pants. So we gotta, take it easy in the beginning at first. You don't just go and ram a shorty. You feel me? You can make her bleed. You feel me? You don't just snap your fingers and the lasagna is instantly made and shit. You gotta prepare the shit. You gotta boil the pasta. You gotta prepare the sauce. All that, I know, cliche with the lasagna and all that.
Change your nickname to Garfield, bro.
So, how did we just go from fucking bleeding pussy to fucking
Lasagna, like 0 to 60. What's that lasagna?
I'm eating pussy lasagna.
So, I don't want any of your lasagna anymore, guys. Like,
You're never gonna see that tomato sauce the same way again.
no, bro, you just
I hope that's
ruined
ricotta
lasagna for me,
cheese.
bro.
I ruined lasagna for you for
God.
what the fuck?
No, he hasn't resumed that. I'm still good. I'm still down.
Yeah.
Nothing can ruin lasagna for me. It's my favorite fucking pasta.
Ah, okay, we was joking. So, all right, that was the first part. Wait, I'm not done. Respectfully, I'm not done yet. All right. Secondly,
No, just
we're in a particular time period, right? That we're like right now, we can't teleport. How do you travel?
Well, I can teleport.
No,
Teleport here right now. Teleport here right now, Harrison. There's a big space right here. I want to see you pop up in here like Goku right now.
You see my tits? It's gotta be big.
I'll give you a lesson.
So let me tell you, hold on. If I hold that respectfully, my bad. I just want to get this point across. Right now, we're working with the tools. Right now, we're working with the tools we have at our disposal. 100 or 200 years from now, whenever the fuck, when they develop teleportation technology, they're gonna look back and say, why didn't these dumbasses teleport instead of flying planes and driving cars? Look what we're doing right now. Oh, why didn't these dumbasses back in the day fight against the Nazis stronger and shit like that? That particular time period, you gotta figure out what the fuck was going on back then. What was people's state of minds? What was the technology like? What tools did they have at their disposal? Yeah, I do know there was a time period that, people didn't have showers and shit like that. We look at them like, how the fuck they ain't shower? And thank God. In the future, they might invent some shit that you just like step into and it completely cleans you without you having to be there like scrubbing. Oh, why didn't they just do this back then? It's just, so we gotta work with the tools we have at our disposal at the moment. Look how long power tools came about and shit. So
Yes. Can I add on to that?
sure, please.
You make an actually solid argument for anarchy here.
Thank you.
Because I feel like, as you're talking about with the advances in technology and everything, I feel like government is just another one of those things that's about to become outdated.
I agree with that, you know, and we gotta explain that to
We
people.
no longer live in a society that needs a federal government.
Nah,
That's
not at
bullshit.
all. And
Like,
we
we have advanced past the need for a state. We have advanced past the need for an ATF and a CIA and a NSA and all of this other fucking bullshit. Like, we have blockchain and fucking like electronic everything. We have 12-year-olds that are better hackers than the CIA. Like this, the next generation is not gonna fuck around with this 1960s government bullshit.
exactly.
1760s, 1770s government. But let me ask you this, fight. So if you have accepted that, excuse me, if you accepted that, then why do we need somebody who's like a pragmatic type, like Justin Amash, to go in, who has the experience of how to handle the big giant state? So when they get in, they can know how to handle the big giant state. Why not? If people are going to accept that, run somebody who's going to step in day one and say, I'm not going to use my experience of negotiating with all these ATFs and CIAs and FBIs and these agencies. Why not say, we're going to pick somebody who's going to go in and say, nope, you're done, bye-bye, see ya, you're all fired.
I mean,
Get the fuck outta here.
that was Spike Cohen's you know, mission, because he said we're gonna bring it all down and shit. But again, we gotta get the people inside first. Larry Sharp, you
have
know,
to get in there.
yeah, Larry Sharp can't, you know, make New York the paradise it once was, you know, shit like that without owning the governor's seat. Stacey Pressman can't restore, you know, the vibe of the culture of New York City having like all these shows and all this other shit if she's not mayor. We gotta get our people in first. And real quick, I was a bit energetic a few minutes ago, but it's simply because I'm big on, like, you know, being anti-emotion and all that. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we're humans and shit. It's just people will always try to find the smallest little crack of anything and be like, oh, they got him there. So it's some PTSD I'm coming off of. Remember, I've been debating people for a long time. There was one time I thought I was a lonely libertarian, you know, that one porcupine and shit. And I was out here whooping ass, so I'm so accustomed to covering all grounds, period, making sure that all of the cement has been covered, no cracks whatsoever. So pardon the energy from a few moments ago. It's just I had to make sure I put the stamp on everything before anybody, and I'm not talking about anybody within this forum. I'm talking about other people outside. They know who they are. They like to be little wise asses, but just basically to what the fuck?
I know, it's trippy. Yeah, we got two Harrisons.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure, like, I'm not bugging here, am I?
No,
No,
on
I need to
that,
go
on
smoke
that
this
cash.
line.
Oh, okay, all right. Whoa, that shit, holy shit. That shit, oh man, that caught me lovely.
I want to say, if you don't mind, Cash,
Go
that
ahead.
I love your show, and I'm glad to be on here. And I also want to maybe own up to being a little bit too silly in the beginning. I just have my mind in a good headspace, but I appreciate coming on. I've got to head to bed, man, so I'm gonna bounce out. But thanks for having me come on the show. Thanks for coming on my show, and hopefully you can do it again, dude. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Nah, definitely, brother, man.
Great talking to you, Roger, as always.
Yeah, we know you gotta be up at the earliest.
Bill, I do want to respond to your question because it was pretty direct. There's a twofold answer, honestly, in my opinion. I think that there are actually more three. I think that I do not believe that we're quite gonna convince the general population of the United States to agree with what I said earlier by 2024. But we might get them to agree we might get enough chunk of them to agree to something a little bit less crazy, and then a bunch of other people to agree to that who wanted the crazier thing. And if we can unite them in 24, I think that's a real possibility.
Exactly.
On top of that, I think that I don't think that there's a reason why Justin Amash couldn't run on a abolish the ATF and the NSA and the CIA and the FBI ticket. If that was, and I don't want to like promote pandering, but like if that was a more general consensus of the country, then I think he would run on that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, that's not, and by 24, it could be. And I
Yeah.
hope to God it is. I really would love to see Amash Cohen run in 24 on an abolish it all platform because they could win on that platform. But if they can't win on that platform, maybe we talk about not baby steps, but like meet somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Does this come down to the question of whether you run based on principle and what you believe is best and what you are, swearing to uphold as far as the Constitution or something like that, or run based on representation and you run? It sounds like Justin Amash is like, well, I'm going to take the pulse of the country. I'm going to do what they want. That sounds like a great. Sorry, go ahead. It sounds like democracy.
So
Well,
I
what-
think. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
David. I was just gonna say real quick. What I think is that it takes both kinds.
I agree.
It really takes both. Like, I'm one of those. I'm gonna give the principled libertarian message. May not be what everyone wants to hear, but I'm going to say it. Justin Amash, he is a little more palatable. He can take a different road than I will. I just think it takes all kinds. I don't think there's one right way. But I think even if you're gonna take the way where you're kind of softballing it a little bit, you stay true to libertarianism.
Yeah.
Don't go conservative light.
Oh hell no,
Agreed.
not at all.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's big. God.
Sorry, yeah, because I 100% agree with you, Harrison. I think, and that's one of the reasons why I like Amash. We have to admit that for a while he was a Republican, right? So he's only been a libertarian for like a year and a half, and since he's become a libertarian, he's moved the needle on his own opinions quite a bit. And I have issues with him. I'm not gonna back him up 100% because like there are things that I do disagree with Justin Amash on. There's things that I disagree with Spike Cohen on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure we all disagree on plenty of shit.
God. I thought you were done. My bad.
Sorry. I'm trying to remember what Bill's point was that. Yes.
Ross. He went on Malice and he's like, I don't know how you. I wouldn't vote for a guy who supports keeping Ross Ulbricht in prison. I can't.
Yeah.
He does. And he openly does.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I think
out
he
loud.
violated a crime there. I'm like, what? There's no victim. I can't.
No. I'm 100% in agreement with you, and I think that is a direct conflict to libertarian principles. And
Maybe if he changes his mind.
here's where I wouldn't. So I agree that you don't want to vote for somebody that wouldn't support pardoning him. Like totally get that.
I'd rather pick somebody more radical who believes that that's an innocent person.
Right. Oh, yeah,
and if that doesn't sell as well, I don't give a fuck because that person does not deserve to be in a cage.
Yeah.
Again, we're protecting the smallest minority here. That's the individual, and he was trying to help people with that. Like that, I mean, you can debate people could use it to do something fucked up, but he's not hurting people by creating a platform for people to trade.
Right.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I really would not. I would not support him running for president unless he changed that.
I would like to.
But he hasn't changed that, and it sounds like you do.
He's not running for president yet.
Fair.
Do y'all
I want
remember?
him to change a couple of things before I support him running for president.
Mhm.
I think he's got good people in his
He
ear.
follows me on Twitter, but I haven't talked to him yet. So like, I have 2 years to get in his ear and change
Hell yeah.
a couple of these opinions. I don't support Justin Amash as is for president. No, I don't really support anyone as is for president. And I think that's like we have so fucking long to worry about right now. I support Stacey Pressman for mayor. I support Larry Sharp for governor. I support Kim Ruff for Arizona State. We have fucking races coming up to worry about who's gonna run for president.
So all right, look, I'm gonna make this very simple to understand right now. You remember back in like the 80s, 90s, when people was like, "Oh, weed is bad, blah blah blah. You can't smoke it. Oh my God!" And then what happened? Not even early, mid 2000s, and all that. A lot of people started smoking weed. Then Wiz Khalifa came out, mad people started smoking weed. They got eased into it, So I think we gotta ease
Fucking
people.
Kristen Bell does it in her movies.
Because the thing, again, it's just like, you know, they even say this in shooting. You don't just start somebody off right away with you know, a full auto or Uzi and shit like that, because you know what's gonna happen to that person who's never shot before. More than likely, they're gonna get scared. You know, if you start somebody smoking and you tell them, oh, you're gonna face this whole blunt by yourself right now, motherfucker, they're gonna have a bad high, and then you know, whenever they hear weed again, more than likely, they're gonna be scared. You know, so you gotta ease people into it and shit. Find out what they're about. Like, for the most part, United States is libertarian. Guns, weed, we should be keeping all of our money. Government shouldn't have that much control over us, or no control at all, unless like we seriously like violate innocent party, and be able to do as you want with yourself. You know, you want to get tattoos, go ahead. You know, you want to be a sex worker, go ahead. You know, you wanna fucking inject heroin in yourself and shit, go ahead. You know, that's on you and shit. As long as you're not fucking with nobody, don't fuck with nobody. You know, that's all. So you know, we gotta ease people into it and explain it to them. The way I tell people from the around the way and shit, yo, you don't want to get arrested for bud. You want to have your guns. You know, your rappers is always talking, oh, I'm strapped on the block, light up, and shit like that. Alright, B. So guess what? We could change the laws. Vote libertarian, motherfucker. Plain and simple. What was the last part I was gonna say? To add to that, you have people who complain about property land tax. You got a lot of people that they're buying homes now. A lot of people turning 25, 30, 35. They want to buy their first home right now. Guess what? You want to keep more of your money, pay less property land tax as well. Vote libertarian. Very, very simple. We just gotta ease them into it. Find out what are their concerns and offer them the libertarian solution. Exactly. Look at that. There's 1,000 of them. Can you imagine if you had 1,000 different strains of marijuana to try, 1,000 different firearms to shoot, 1,000 different lasagnas to try? Like, you know, like amazing.
Our lasagna convention.
So Bill,
I found the best. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Harrison.
Harrison, you have to talk to a bit.
Word.
Oh, I was just going to say that I find the best way to start that conversation too, to find out what is most important to them, how to reach them, is when you go in to vote, what's the number one issue for you?
There you go. Find
Right
out their
there,
biggest
it's
concern.
It's
Their
abortion,
biggest
it's
concern.
guns, it's taxes, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
And then
fucking be
you
honest
know.
with them.
Libertarians,
Libertarian take.
we have all of the solutions. We just don't have the quantity votes. And again, you got a lot of people, if y'all been keeping up with the news, who sign affidavits in Orange Man's favor that voting fraud did occur. We've had a lot of people running the voting post stations conducting voting fraud for the deep state. So we're just finally breaking through to this glass. So, you know, we get in there, remain optimistic, and we're gonna get it. You know, a porcupine doesn't just make its home within a few minutes or whatever. It takes like a day or two to set up a home and all that and shit. You know, women don't just give birth overnight and shit. You know, like everything is a process.
Is that not how that works?
I thought they carried the baby for a while.
Exactly, they carry the baby for a while. You know what the fuck I mean. Come on, these guys are pulling the super libertarian shit on me, getting super technical, motherfuckers.
The question you asked that I couldn't remember earlier, because you asked about like doing like reading the country versus like staying true to your principles.
Oh yeah.
I definitely, we can save some of this for when you come on my show, but I want to answer that one a little bit, because I think it depends on what, I agree with Harrison, it depends on what branch you're in. That I think that the president is the president of the entire country, and it's his job to mediate the discussion and try to do what's best for everybody in this representative republic that we live in. If you're a congressman or a senator, your job is to represent the values that you were elected for 110% all the time.
Man, it's crazy. You know what I feel like is overlooked about the presidency that nobody talks about, and they teach it to you when you're like 6, 7 years old. It's like the president is the only person in the country who has veto power, who can say, no, we don't need this new law. And it's like, right, that should be used so often. And people shit on the president whenever he vetoes anything. But it's like, the reality is, like, we have more laws, more taxes, more regulations than ever, do you feel better off than ever? I mean, like, in some ways we are, but as far as like, look at your paycheck. You know, look at what we're doing for. Sorry, go ahead.
It would cost you like $250,000 just to print out all of the laws.
Oh shit.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
being.
Can somebody do it just so
I
you can have a
remember
room?
when I was a kid, I got like super. I was like probably 14, 15. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and I actually I printed out the Constitution. I printed out like a bunch of other stuff. I like read all of it, and I had it in my head that somehow I was gonna print out all the laws and read them all because I thought that there was just a book somewhere. Like in the TV shows, like the lawyers, they have like a bookshelf. There's like one row of books that they can just pull one off and find the law. And it's like, that's not, no. Like you have federal, state, county, city, fucking, all of this other shit all over the place. Who could possibly know all the laws that they have to abide by at all times?
It's more like Breaking Bad when they have that pallet full of cash and like, what are we gonna do with it?
Right.
So when like I've written law, right? Like I wrote a no-knock bill, and I've written a couple other bills, but the no-knock bill is sponsored right now, so that's the one I'll talk about. During the research for that fucking thing, I'm looking at other states and how they've done it, cities and how they've done it, and then I'm trying to incorporate it into what our laws are. And there's like 12 tabs open on my computer. By the end of it, you're just like, I need a day off. My brain is melting. They make it so complicated that a normal person just can't do this stuff, you know? But I was doing nothing else, so.
Yeah.
Right.
That ass, B. No, and that's dope. That's what we need to. No lie. That's what we need to be doing more of as a nation. Making sure that, you know, that the laws are representing freedom for the biggest minority, the individual. You know, freedom to do whatever the fuck as they want, as long as they're not harming or robbing nobody. And as ruthless as I could be empathetic on robbery. Empathetic, for those who don't know, EMPATHEIC. Not pathetic, you know, because basically it's me talking to people that I know that like misconstrue what I'm saying. Empathetic means showing sympathy and understanding for thieves, because I would rather figure out why are they in a position in their lives that they gotta steal. What can we do to get them away from this? Alright, can they return what they stole? If not, how can they recompensate for what they stole instead of just throwing them in a cage? Cold-blooded murder is cold-blooded murder, and then from there we could decide as, you know, a union what should be the consequences for that. Another thing is declaring battle. You know, like if people don't like each other and, you know, they want to go at it or whatever and shit, or, you know, like that. Yeah, bring back the duel, shit like that and shit. I don't want nobody getting fucked over.
Harrison, write a bill. Bring back the duel in May.
Do they have it in Washington State, I believe?
Do they?
I think you can just, I think in Seattle the cops aren't going to stop you if you just get in a fight on the street, as long as it's two people who are like no, we're going to settle this outside. Yeah, I think that's like a thing. And it really doesn't lead to that much of a different outcome, because most of the time the cops don't come roaming to stop the street fight.
Can I challenge you to like a duel by sword in Seattle sometime this year?
Hell yeah, dude. Also,
red coat response time on average 11 minutes.
I had an idea for it would solve the immigration problem. It's dual citizenship, where you just fight somebody for their citizenship, and then there's no like overpopulation problem anymore, because, you know, if you're from like Ireland, you want to be an American. You're from America, you want to be Irish or have Irish citizenship. You just duel somebody for their citizenship, and then you get all this shit too. Like you can have their job and all that stuff. You don't have to fight over, oh, they're taking our jobs. Like, no, you can have my job. It's fine. Just a thought.
Dual citizenship.
Oh man, but all right, like we agree on a lot of things, and we also agree that things could always be adjusted and shit. There's always room for improvement, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what we could get it as close to paradise as possible and shit, and that's our biggest objective. People will see libertarians, and this is a perfect example that we don't just have blind group thought, you know, because we've had some rebuttals amongst ourselves that needed elaboration and clarity. You know, we talked about like the issues with the slavery from back in the day and shit like that. You know, the issues with like these quote unquote feminists. You know, everybody has a different way of making a lasagna. So many different things. It's about elaboration and clarity. You get me? And taking it from there, along with what? Abiding by the original principle: government shall not have overreach over the biggest minority, who is the individual. Know what I mean? And if we could agree 8 times out of 10, I'll even take it a step further, 7 times out of 10. Like, I'm good with that. And all of us, our end game is the same. We want to be as free as possible, keep all of our money, buy whatever the fuck we want, do it ourselves or whatever the fuck. I don't have tattoos, but if you want to get tattoos, I don't give a shit. You know, I don't listen to rock and roll, but if you want to listen to rock and roll, go ahead. You know, I prefer vegetable lasagna. If you prefer meat lasagna, you know, like, cool. You feel me? It's all about right. Nobody's being harmed or robbed. Cool. That's the basis of it all. That's our nucleus right there. And like, especially keeping, you know, big brother government at bay. We call that pow pow in
I
Spanish.
think most people want that.
Yeah. It's just, you know, a lot of people still happen to be in this state of mind, and they need people like us to explain it to them. Like, look, hear us out, you know, and you'll realize that it's not that scary. Just hear us out. Same way you want to be heard, you got to be willing to listen.
Right. Yeah, I think Harrison touched on something that we kind of glossed over way too quickly because it's something that we lose out on.
Pardon about that, by the way. And Harrison,
No.
Harrison
Like, as a
made
whole.
good points that we were able
Yeah.
to elaborate more on, by the way. So thank you for that.
Facts. But like as a whole, we glossed over it, and as a party, we glossed over it. Like you said, just ask people directly, like when you go to vote, what's the most important thing
Uh huh.
to you? Like that's something we don't do as a party. We don't. First of all, we don't as a party door knock nearly fucking enough. We don't interact with voters nearly enough. We don't have a clue what people are thinking. As
We're-
a party,
Yeah, we could start doing more of that now. I mean, I know myself as an individual, I've done that. I know you've done that. Bill and Harrison, you know,
More of us have done. Well, maybe not Bill. Get to door knocking, bro. Like, I'm not even like shitting on you, but like for real, like the most invigorating, like firing up experience that you can have for liberty is to like go and actually like convince a voter that was planning on voting for Republican to vote Libertarian.
Yep.
Like, there isn't a fucking better feeling.
I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can get one.
Yeah, and I mean, New Hampshire's already like pretty fucking libertarian.
Shout out New
Might
Hampshire.
know some of your other place.
I'm considering being mayor next year instead of Arizona to like just run a concerted effort against the Republican Party in the state senate to get like as many of them removed as humanly possible so they can finally pass marijuana reform.
So New Hampshire, not 420.
No, it is a prohibition island. Every single state that borders it has.
It really is.
It's fucking. And here's where it goes further, though. The House has passed legalization for 3 times, right?
So the state Senate has denied it, or the
And
governors?
The Senate has shut it down all 3 times, and I think at this point, even the governor. He got vetoed once?
I think so.
I think you're right about that too. Yeah, but it's been passed by time, and it's gotten shut down every time. Like, so we need to fucking, like, the state house is pretty good. Like, we can kind of leave them alone for one election cycle and just wreck the New Hampshire state.
Yeah, it's all about cleansing. You see what I mean? I explained this shit to my boys in regards to New York and New Jersey's marijuana decriminalizations. I'm like, look, you have the state assembly, and then the senates of that states, and then you have the governor. The governor is basically the presidents of that individual state. We have to explain these things to people. Again, that's what I do with my podcast. I explain to people what incumbent meant. You know, the current position holder defending his position. I explain to
That is really good stuff to explain.
yeah, I explain to them, you know, the definition of probable cause. You know, I explain to them what shall not be infringed means. You know, shall not be fucked with, shall not be reduced, altered, restricted in any way, shape, or form. You know, so it's about a lot of translating. That's what we gotta do. If people don't know what they don't know, and you know how many of us as kids didn't like a certain food until we actually gave it a shot. Oh shit, this shit is good.
Yeah.
You know, I had to try ice cream to realize I don't like ice cream. You feel me?
you thought you liked it until you tried it.
Exactly, because the cartoons and all that shit had me like, oh shit, ice cream. That I tried that shit. I said, holy shit.
How did you learn about ice cream from cartoons? Where were you living? Like,
You know, you watch like Looney Tunes and shit like that. They eating ice cream, whatever, and you're just like, oh, okay, that it looks cool, but when you try it, my opinion, it sucks. My opinion.
When's the last time you tried it?
Woo! It's been a long time, yo.
I'm gonna make you try.
look at that chicken sound.
Maybe you should try it
Yeah, you should try it again, Cash.
again. Make a fucking ice cream lasagna, bro.
Negative.
There you go.
You can't make an ice cream. Well, you could like
Yeah,
like.
you could. Hold up, I'll make you an ice cream lasagna.
Definitely.
Make me a lasagna.
Man.
No. I'll make the lasagna. Please. I do not want ice cream. Look, I've tried ice cream a few times in my life, and no, fuck no.
No, I'm really picturing like.
When was the last time though?
Psst. Man, hold on.
What do
You gotta look at the
you
count.
picture? Ice cream lasagna?
Yeah, like with the noodles made out of chocolate, like solid
Aw,
chocolate, like
dude.
in between layers of ice cream,
Yeah.
like topped with like chocolate syrup and like caramel syrup and like maybe like some fucking strawberry something up in there. Like, dude, my brain is going up and way too much.
A long time ago,
Let me
in
ask
a
you
galaxy
this,
far away, was the last time I tried ice cream. And let me tell you again how I take ice cream. Fuck ice cream.
So what is the libertarian stance on lizard people living among us? Bill brought up a good point.
All right, so let me elaborate on that. This is me individually, because you know you got people out there who want to get in this. You know, you could believe, you cannot believe, whatever. To my knowledge, my research, what I've been hearing about throughout the decades, these reptilians are ops. We gotta whoop their ass. There is nothing to fear but fear itself.
Violate the non-aggression principle.
Yo, they violated the non-aggression. If we pull down this curtain and these reptilians are here and they're doing the foul shit, they violated the NAP long ago. Look, our logo,
It's true. If they are here, they did.
yeah, our logo is the porcupine. The porcupine is a living embodiment of the NAP. You know porcupines. You know what porcupines love doing?
Fucking people up.
No, well, having a good time. But once they are pissed off, once their NAP is violated, that's when they go nuts and they charge whatever pissed them off. So, you know, the NAP is gotta have his line in the sand, you know, and I'm not I'm NAP up until a brick, a stone, whatever is thrown at me, or I'm disrespected. After that, we kick it off.
People are real and fuck them.
What happened?
Exactly. Okay, so yeah, dude. So basically, kind of build off of what Cash was saying. These reptilians as
Oh, shout out Daniel Donnelly. My bad, real quick. Pardon me, Harrison. Dan Donnelly says, we'll elect the Libertarian president as soon as Libertarians stop elevating cannibalism to an art form. Exactly. We got to get along. We got plenty of ops. We get along here. We get along here. It's
I
just
thought you meant literally eating humans.
nah, because you got a lot of libertarians. We gotta talk to them in the coming weeks, and they gotta spark up and calm down and shit. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. Shout out Donnelly, by the way. Dan Donnelly is the motherfucking man.
Tell Mr. Donnelly here to don't just worry about an LP president. Worry about your local people being libertarian.
Oh no, in his defense,
That's really
I will shout him out for you, Cash. You can sit this one out. Daniel Donnelly is a fucking libertarian powerhouse in New York State. Fucking every fucking meeting doing all so yeah.
Okay, well then I apologize because I don't know the guy.
yeah. Hey, look, we all make mistakes.
Yeah,
We all
it's a
make
good
mistakes.
point. Your point is factual. He's just not a good target for it. There's like a million other people that's dead on accurate.
Yeah.
Probably like one of the 6 people you can't say that to.
All right, well, great. You found one of the real libertarians, and I'm trying to make a point here. So, anyway, if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I'll support an LP president, great, thank you. Go out there and support a local candidate too. Help them get elected. That's where the real change occurs.
And if you can, get involved in your local libertarian groups. You just on Facebook. I get people sending me stuff on Facebook. It's like a bill I can go put my opinion on that I wouldn't have seen in my Facebook feed otherwise. That's totally worth it. Just like a New Hampshire House bill that I can go put in. Like I'm just a citizen with an opinion, and then they'll even be like, "Do you want to testify on Zoom?" I don't know if they do it in every state, but New Hampshire's pretty good.
Oh shit, that's dope. And real quick, just to put the stamp on it, Donnelly, that does not apply towards you. Once again, you're the fucking man. We love you, Donnelly. Just had to put that out there.
Well, it still applies. I mean, still don't.
No, but not to Donnelly. Not to Donnelly. Not to Donnelly. Donnelly be putting in work in his sleep, yo. Like Donnelly.
We need more Donnellys.
Yes, we do need more Donnellys. I'm glad you said that. Yes.
So be the Donnelly in your state.
Yes.
What are you doing if you're not your state's Donnelly? I guess that's the question.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't know this guy, and now I want to give him a hug. So.
Yo, no. Donnelly's the fucking man. Yo, love him. Shout out the Florida Libertarians putting in massive work. They move as one. They're a perfect example of how every libertarian party should be. We gotta be united. New Hampshire, Maine, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Florida, Texas libertarians. We gotta be constantly promoting all of our candidates. Imagine a bunch of libertarian mayors and governors. Boom, we won. That's the mission.
Yeah. I think the little roots are sprouting right
Oh,
now.
hell yeah.
I
Shout out.
I really do. And I think free speech media specifically is something I see a whole bunch of interesting already. It's like, a couple dozen at this point. But what has it been, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And we fucking gaining momentum, Look, you gotta put that lasagna in the oven. Once you put that lasagna in the oven, it's gonna start baking. You feel me? And it's only a matter of time till you pull it out and get to enjoy it. So we're getting there.
Once you put that ice cream in the bowl and it starts melting just a little bit, that's the perfect time to eat it.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like even just for people like us, I know a few people between, the New Hampshire libertarians and the Maine libertarians, like you, Harrison. I'm already kind of lining things up where you're talking about lining the parties up. So you said Florida, they move as one. New England, we could be moving as one. Having actual goals. Hey, New England's gonna be a place where at least we accept, decriminalization of pot.
was just gonna say, thankfully, we can build our New England coalition, and we don't have to worry about what's going on over in New York because y'all aren't part of New England. But y'all should move over to New England and join the
Does it count
coalition.
if I'm a Patriots fan?
No.
No, but let me say this. I mean, it's close, but I think we still need them in New York because unless we want to leave New York too, I mean, yeah, I don't know, probably should.
The only way I'm leaving is going to Florida. But look, we got Stacey Pressman and Larry Sharp here. Right now, y'all gotta help us get Stacey elected. Promote the shit out of her. Interview her on your shows. We get New York City Mayor, Libertarian. Holy shit, let me tell y'all. That'll be lit. And then, think about it. You know, New York City Mayor, Libertarian. Then New York State Governor, Libertarian. Yo, people, like that within itself, you know, like that's gonna be a fucking phenomenal way.
I think there's something to be said for determining. That's pretty good. I like that. I missed that from church when I was religious, but you rarely hear that, and it's very glorious. I'm not gonna lie, that's a glorious tune.
Yeah, so we need the help in New York right now, and New Jersey has a libertarian governmental candidate. We gotta help promote Martha Bueno. She's running. I forgot what for. My bad, Martha. But she's running for something in Florida, and
Miami-Dade Commission.
there you go. We gotta promote all the Porcupines nationwide, whatever the fuck they running for. You know, city council, commission, mayor, governor, whatever the fuck.
Can I ask a question though, regarding you guys moving over to New England, and like leaving New York to the leftist, statists, whatever it is, whatever you want to call these people who are like,
Florida.
We want all social controls to be mandated by the state, and whatever you want to call those people. There is two different strategies here, where it's like, on a cultural level, the cultural battle is to sell those people somehow the idea of liberty, right?
Mhm.
And then more of the United States is libertarians, or
Yeah.
more like
Hell
libertarian.
yeah. Hell yeah.
I feel like
Legal battle.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna. It's almost done. The legal battle is to say people should be allowed to diversify, and to make basically safe harbors for liberty.
Yeah.
You can have your rules in your place. We're gonna have ours in our place.
Mhm.
Those are two different things. So you guys coming to New England is like, let's build our safe harbors, and then like us selling. And I think both are valid. I'm just saying, like, it's like the cultural strategy is to get California to be libertarian and New York to be libertarian. And win those people over, because that's where the culture is. If you think about it, the culture isn't coming from Iowa.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah.
That's a fact.
New York, New York, New York.
But the culture of the U.S., as far as globally, as far as what people think of as the U.S., is coming from New York and California.
Yeah.
So culturally, it's winning those places over. And then legislatively, it's like, yes, if you can't live there, come to these places. And I do think we need to be doing both.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like the target place for those strategies is two different things. I don't know, I've never seen that articulated. I just thought of that right now.
New York. We need New York, yo.
I think they're kind of one and the same in a way. Like, fuck California. They're a little bit like they've gone a little bit to the wayside. But I think that a lot of
New York.
I think here I'm not gonna to say that all of the blame for what's going on in New York falls on like tiny minority of humans, but it's a majority of it. I also think that New York City itself is fairly fucking libertarian in culture.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, we got a lot of Democrats flipping
there's no
libertarian.
other place in this
A
country
lot.
where you can just like stand on a fucking major intersection and scream pussy at the top of your lungs for 12 hours straight and no one fucking just bothers you at all.
Yeah, you'll get looked at like,
Nowhere else in
what
the
the fuck?
country can you do that. Like New York City, you can do that. Like we have a very live and let live culture, and then we have a very oppressive government. And I think we're reaching a breaking point here. And I think that it's kind of a one and the same.
Exactly. Cuomo's in trouble right now. De Blasio has officially turned out. Even though I'll give De Blasio some credit on his
Fuck that guy.
police reform when it comes to
That was
marijuana.
pander bullshit. That was meaningless pander bullshit. Fucking budget manipulation. All he did was cut their budget a little bit. He didn't actually reform fucking shit.
No. I'm saying when it came to marijuana.
Oh.
He told them to calm the fuck down.
Eh.
Yeah. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that. It's still fuck him. It's still fuck him, but I'll give him that.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I mean, he's still fine with them giving out tickets for marijuana. He's still fine with people going to jail if they have too much. And then he also was like putting fucking locks and bars on people's houses and parks and fucking shit throughout Brooklyn. Like, no, fuck that guy. He handles everything incorrectly, and I don't want to. I'm very glad that he is not able to run for re-election.
I feel so. I heavily agree. Either way, I want Stacy. You know,
Oh yeah.
we need Stacy, fellas. Promote the living shit out of Stacy. You know, yeah, both.
We should get her on our shows if we can.
Hell yeah.
That'd be a great way to do it, right?
Contact
We all have
info.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I got you.
we- yeah,
That's
yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I got you guys.
Yep. Definitely. I'm gonna have her back
Oh,
on
You're
soon.
doing my job better than me, Cash. Like, I'm fucking the deputy campaign manager. I should be pumping her up the whole time I was on here.
Yeah, nah. It's just, it's so
She worked for
genuine.
this lady? What?
It's so genuine. You know,
Right.
from me and shit. I'm not saying that it's not genuine from you. I'm just saying that like yo, with her, like again, you know, we'll be getting there. We'll start singing that song. You feel me? We'll be right there. Like,
Talking to this Stacy lady.
oh, you're gonna love her.
Sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
I need to go. It's 1:45. So.
Yeah. Nah, we definitely we had a rather late start this evening. Is there anything you want to say in closing before leaving, Harrison? And you did, before you start, my bad, real quick, I want to give you your props because you did ask some very difficult questions. I hope I responded to them in a respectful but valid manner, you know. But that was dope too, and that goes to show libertarians are not a bunch of yes men and group thinkers. We challenge each other, but also we want to pass a message that we got to start uniting better and getting these victories.
Yeah, and I appreciate the way you answered the questions and
Thank
that you asked me some. But I'll say too, one thing that I did it when I was kind of first starting doing podcasts and talking was feeling like I had to explain every little bit of what I'm talking about. You don't have to do that as much with us, you know. It's a round talk. We know what you're saying. We know what you mean when you say something. We know what you're getting at for the most part. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to be like, I have to explain every single fucking piece of this.
Yeah, nah, cause you know there's gonna be viewers and they're gonna come around, they're gonna get in there, and they're gonna talk shit.
If they're in their feelings, fuck them. Like, if we're having an intellectual conversation that's above their like, I mean, there's so many fucking things on YouTube. If this isn't what you wanted to listen to, go listen to like Spike Cohen's last podcast or something.
This
Word.
is so the same conversation as like, should we fight the cultural war or like the safe harbor war? Like, should we get these people on board with us, or should we say fuck them and like let them have their space? It's so the same conversation. It's hilarious.
Word. Also, I forgot to do this with Roger, so I don't wanna, you know, let lightning strike in the same place twice again. Harrison, before you go, can you tell people where to reach you at and all that, and you know, mention your show as well, please, and thank you, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on, man. I gotta get you on my show soon. You can find all of my stuff at harrisonkemp.com. I've got way too many things and titles and shows and books to plug, so just go to harrisonkemp.com. It's the central repository for all of my shit.
Well put. Yo, Harrison, you know, thanks for being on. thank you for showing that, again, we're not group thinkers and just yes men, and that we have valid concerns and we understand that everything needs revision and there's always room for improvement. But overall, what we want is the independence of the biggest minority, who is an individual, and limited government, or even no government. We could get there. Just is steps we gotta take to get there. But overall, we're liberty loving libertarian patriots.
Yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't be doing my job because I'm one of the managers at FSM, and I really appreciate the three of you, all the hard work you put in, the streams that you get done, the people you've brought to the team, and it's amazing to see. And so really building on kind of that idea of not being yes men, we don't agree on everything as we went through tonight, but we disagree.
Yeah, like ice cream. I don't,
Right, you don't like ice cream. I think I'm going to deport you for it. So,
Actually, the most offensive opinion that I've heard. That's worse than anything Bill has said, even off the air.
not liking ice cream is pretty horrific. But no, I love you for it. I appreciate it, and this is what FSM is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a group of people who can
Free
disagree
speech.
in a fun, polite, constructive way, and joke around with each other, and then at the end of the day, just put out some really great information and content folks need to hear. So, I just wanted to thank you guys. Make sure if you're on this, watching the Fix for New York, that you check us out on facebook.com/freespeechmedia. You can find the Fix for New York. You can find Fight for Liberty. Don't quote me on this. You can find my podcasts on there, as well as tons
All
of
of
great
us.
stuff. I mean, we got 7 days a week already of content.
Woo! 7 days a week. Liddy.
So, just thanks for being here, guys. I really
Definitely.
appreciate it. I really appreciate the hard work, and Roger and I are working hard to get you the fan base you deserve. So,
Shout out, Roger.
thank you. But I'm gonna go to bed.
Alright, brother man. Have a good night.
A young man. Later, guys.
Later, man.
Yeah, fellas.
This is a crossover. We can shamelessly promote. Free speech media has been a fucking awesome group of people and fun content to watch. And like you've been saying, Cash, we're not all yes men. Free speech media means that we have some fucking lip socks and some nieces, some in between, and we're building that out to even crazier levels of all over the political spectrum. As long as you below that middle line and you are small government, liberty minded,
Mm-hmm.
free speech minded, we got you.
Yeah. Do you guys listen to rock and roll?
Of course.
Yeah, and I don't, but you know what? That doesn't mean I'm gonna just disregard y'all and shit. I'll throw my headphones on. I'll find something else to do. You feel me? Yeah, go to Baskin Robbins. I'm gonna go somewhere else, and we'll meet back. We'll rendezvous shortly.
You don't like Baskin Robbins either? Oh wait, I guess that's just ice cream, right? So that would make sense.
What is it?
Never mind.
31 flavors.
At least.
Yeah.
I want to say too. I've met. I don't know if you guys have. I've met Harrison and Roger. I've interacted with both of them in person, and I interact with them online. And I really do feel like both those guys are working to make this thing better for everyone.
It's gaining a lot of momentum.
Especially Roger. I feel like not that Harris is, but Roger is. Seems like he's working on this at least 5-6 days a week. He's actively streaming people's shit and going through and sending reminders. But I feel like that dude is working hard to make us all successful. I love that. I feel like it's rare to find a dude like that who's man, I got all these people around me and I want to elevate everybody. He's just putting his own money into it. So not only is free speech media great, but the people who started and Harrison too. Harrison is he's a very smart and strategic motherfucker. And I don't even know if he's fucking any moms.
Oh shit!
I respect it. I really do feel like both those guys are working for
Fucking right in the pussy.
for us. It's not like they're doing it like they're some managers who are in it for themselves.
Yeah, no, they valid. They're super valid, you know.
They really seem to like us and respect us all, and I love it. Yeah.
Word. Is there anything
We're
else?
trying out D-Live, and we're trying out. Am I? Huh? Okay.
Hey, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it froze for a second.
Yeah, I saw it.
So, not only are they looking out for us, they're looking out for the viewers too. Because like we started off on D-Live, now we're on. We're trying to move to another thing where if you're watching us, we're trying to get around censorship. You should vote with your dollars. Don't give your fucking data to YouTube if you can.
Mhm.
If you can avoid it. So
Right.
go watch us on something else. And these a lot of these newer places pay you for viewing in crypto. And then you
Mhm.
can donate that to us or cash out, spend it some other place.
Word.
There are so many awesome options in this decentralized blockchain world that we're entering. I made the pitch earlier that we're evolving past the need for a government. We're before we do that, we've already evolved past the need for a
Technocracy.
That
I don't know how to
that's a
say
word.
that. I don't know.
Whatever, technocratic government,
Yeah.
like fucking corporatist oligarchy that spends trillions of dollars to bomb brown kids. Like we've definitely evolved past the need for that. So Roger and Harrison are doing everything they can to try to help promote the viewers and try to get us into this decentralized free market world.
And
Yeah,
as much as
and-
we may all disagree on many things, we pretty much all agree on peace.
Exactly. Word.
That's a great one thing to be aligned on. If I
Mhm.
had to pick one, I think the hippies of the 60s would agree, and the fucking Occupy Wall Street people would agree, and just generally the 99% of whatever population.
Imagine if everybody was just chilling, and we're growing fruits and vegetables, having super clean water, smoking the best herb, building great obstacle courses to shoot our guns, and
The best lasagna.
best lasagna. There you go, B. You feel me?
Yeah, then we can start arguing over the little things.
Exactly. And we get there. All right, so we got 5 minutes left on this. In closing, is there anything you guys want to touch on?
Man, I think that one thing, and I've said this for about probably 10 years now, I don't know when I had this thought, but it's I think that kindness is a life skill, is under-taught.
Mm-hmm. It definitely
They
is.
teach you all kinds of things, life skills. There's all sorts of life skills that they don't teach you that are also super valid, but kindness is a life skill. I like to make the analogy, it's like if you were working downtown and you saw a if you got coffee every day, and you had $2 to spend, you could spend an extra $2, and you had a cold-looking person who's homeless. Whether you think homeless people should work harder or do whatever, have drug problems or irresponsible or mental health issues, whatever you think, forget all that. If there's somebody who is a cold-looking person who could use a $2 coffee, and you do that, let's say, you work downtown 300 days a year, and you do that 100 days a year for a different person every day, or even let's say 50 people twice per year. There's 50 people out there who, if you're on the street having a hard time, they're like, that guy did something for me. I think kindness is a life skill. It's a very valuable thing. And not only that, they can vouch. Yeah, they can vouch. Not even this. I mean, I definitely is a habit, but just think of it as something that is not just this. It is selfless, but also if you just have a habit of doing that, it's not just selfless. It's very selfish. People are gonna love you, and you'll live a better life when the shit hits the fan for you. If the shit hits the fan for you,
God forbid.
having been good to other people because
Mhm.
people look out for you, and it's I tend to think that if you're in a spot and this is it speaks to the testament of communities and direct human to human action rather than relying on the state to help the homeless or the poor or the downtrodden or whatever. If you're in a spot where you can do a little bit extra for somebody who can actually benefit from that little bit extra, you should do it. And then if everybody was just doing that, almost nobody would think that we need the federal government. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Kindness is a life skill is under-taught, and that's a very libertarian principle that I think we should be talking
Yep.
about.
I heavily agree. I work in sales, and there's been certain customers that They've gotten me close to a boiling point, even though, by default there's been disrespectful customers that I've challenged like to fights and all that, but there's been some that have like flirted along the lines, but I maintain my kindness and they end up tipping me, bringing me other customers, and they even apologize for giving me a hard time. Fight? Anything?
Yeah, I wanna carry on what Bill was saying by shouting somebody out. Also, Kevin Hobby, who's running for Oklahoma LP state chair.
Shout out Kevin Hobby.
On Twitter.
My bad, the sound effect covered it. I just wanted to give him.
Yeah, Hobby, Hobbie, real on Twitter, Real. He is running for state chair in Oklahoma, and what he's doing right now is he is quote unquote selling t-shirts, campaign t-shirts. But how you get one is you have to send him a receipt of you donating to charity.
That's cool.
Rather than taking donations for his actual campaign. So, like, just little fucking things like that is so much what we as libertarians can and should do, because for a libertarian society to work, it needs to be like what Bill's talking about. Because if we're the same fucked up, uber selfish, like thieving, killing, terrible people that we pretend to be right now, which I don't think humanity
Well, at
is.
least that we elect.
Right.
I don't think it's the average person, but it's definitely who we get in office.
That is a fucking fact. But yeah, I mean, we need to show people don't think that that's humanity, right? People think that humanity is what I just described. They don't think that it's what you were talking about, Bill. But I think humanity is what you're talking about. We need to show people that.
And I would even argue, not to shit on charities, but like do it to like help a person.
Yeah, they gotta be more
An
transparent.
organization, You can be a non-profit that makes a bunch of money and doesn't help a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, they gotta be transparent. And
But like the best thing you can possibly do is like actually help. And this isn't to say don't donate to a nonprofit, but like you helping a person who directly needs help. There's no way, there's no filter between. Like, it's a better world.
Yep.
You know,
It
everybody
definitely
just
is.
does that, and there's much less need for nonprofits where you go through a third party to get the help. You know, and like there's a lot of little ways, and not that, again, like I think the Goodwill does a bunch of good stuff. I could name a bunch of different charities. There's a bunch of different things. There's 1,000 ways that are really good, but there are also people who sell themselves as charities, and in the same way as the state, they'll sell you the idea that they're helping people, and they'll take your money, and they don't help anybody. You know,
I
that's
agree.
possible with a third party.
Actions speak louder than words.
It's not possible.
Take human action, guys.
Alright, fellas. So real quick before we wrap up, drop y'all shows like that. People know where y'all shows are and where to find y'all at. Whoever wanna go first, go first.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Sure. So yeah, the show is the Fight for Liberty show. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Fight for Liberty. Then you can also find me personally. I'm active on Twitter more than anything else. At David Fight, F-I-T-E, spelled in the little box thingy right there. So yeah, go follow me. And if you want to get involved in the party, if you're one of those people that I was like a year and a half ago, I was just sitting around like watching stuff like this and saying, man, I really wish I could take part in that door knocking they were talking about, but I don't know who or where or what. DM me. Like, seriously, my DMs are open. Send me a message. I will try to find the most local person that's the most active that I can plug you in with. I will work tirelessly until you're an active member of the party. So yeah.
Lit.
And if you want to follow me, you can. My podcast is Don't Quote Me on This. It's politically incorrect. I go out of my way to say the most offensive shit.
We've been very politically incorrect this evening.
Absolutely. And if you want to take a look at that, I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/DQMOT radio. I'm on Twitter, which I don't really use, and Instagram, I don't really use. Same handle, DQ.
I need you guys more active on Instagram.
I know, I gotta do it. And then if you want to follow me personally, I'm a lot more active on Facebook and a little bit more active on Twitter. And that's facebook.com/BillIsAJoke, all one word. Because I am. That's Twitter, same thing. Instagram is hype privilege.
fellas, you know, I want to give a shout out to all my libertarian porcupines who were here this evening. Shout out all the wonderful women in the Libertarian Party, especially the women taking some fierce action right now. Stacey Pressman, Martha Bueno, Kim Ruff, just to name a few. And I know that there's many more out there. And would love to have y'all on my show, on Fight Show, on Bill's show, on Roger's show, on Harrison's show, on all the shows. Shout out all the great, you know, libertarians overall. Just, you know, you gotta put that specific declaration on the ladies. Don't want nobody in their feelings. Yeah, along with that, we're just trying to restore the liberty nucleus message of this nation that we've gotten so far away from. It's an uphill battle, but we're gaining a lot of momentum, people. Realize the Libertarian Party is the best option at this moment in time. And let's make it happen, you know. Guns, marijuana, decriminalization of anything that does not include any harm to an innocent party. Keeping more of your money. Yeah. I don't.
All of your money.
Exactly.
Keep all of your
All
money.
of it.
There you go. Word up.
Taxation is that.
Taxation is stuff that it is. You know, sex work is work. You know, all gun laws are an infringement. The war on drugs is unconstitutional. My body, my choice. You feel me? Word up, word up. And the fact, word. So, yeah, you know, everybody who tuned in, thank y'all for tuning in. I'm your boy Cash First, one half of the Fix from New York podcast. My co-host Z Dot could not be here with us this evening, but he was definitely with us here in spirit. And until next time, people, remember, get money and grab life and
fucking right in the pussy.
Make it happen. Remain strong. Remain liberty-minded. Remain red-pilled. Look up the Libertarian Party and all of our wonderful candidates and activists. This has been the Fix from New York podcast. We'll see you next time. Take care. God bless. And we out. Peace.